Hello and welcome to episode 45 of our Timberborn Update 7 Iron Teeth Project 1K playthrough, Cycle 79, Day 11. We have 20 days left in our current drought. Friends, we are so close. We are so close to being ready for the final push to 1,000 beavers. So, I know it might be disappointing to some of you, but I think we're more or less finished with the giant building projects trying to expand reservoirs or this, that, or the other. Because it's episode 45. This playthrough has been, probably including the time lapses, about 120, 130 hours. I guess I could check and then give you the actual number, but that's my estimation. We've done a lot. We've done so much. And it is sadly time for the fun to end very soon. But that doesn't mean we're going to give up on what we've already decided we're going to do. We just might not be able to do a whole bunch of other crazy stuff. But I'm feeling really good about where we are. We have all of these water pumps ghosted or set to be built or whatever you want to say, with the exception of these that are waiting on all of this dynamite to be put in place. And that, of course, is going to have to wait for all of these platforms to be put in. You already know what I'm going to say about that. But I did want to take a little bit of time to talk about our placement in this little bump out here. And there was a really good comment talking about placement of the water pumps and maybe taking some of them out and swapping them so they could be in slightly different locations to improve pathing. But really the only super bad issue we're having here with the 2x2 pathing intersections is this spot right here. And if I were to flip these, then that would just move to be up here. So I don't think there's really that big of a... not really that big of an incentive to flip things around, but that comment also had a really, really good suggestion that I loved. And that is, what if we put platforms on top of this stuff? Just hit pause real quick. And then we put some overhangs up here, and then on top of that, we put in some more large tanks. And obviously I can't place this because we don't have enough support for it. But I think this would be a fantastic way to utilize space above all of this stuff. And I fully intend to do it, because we do still have to have a huge quantity of water stored. So how are we going to get there? Remember what we have up here. We have 1, 2, 3 large tanks taking up 9 spaces side to side. And available to us here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 inside. And then I guess something around the outside. Well, you know what 12 is. It's 4 times 3, and I'm bad at math, but I do know that much. So what I'm going to be able to do is put 4 across this way, and then 4 across this way, and then in the middle, we also have 10 spaces on the inside of here. So that's going to give us, when we take the 3 out and the 3 out here, that's going to give us 5 spaces, 4 spaces. I can promise that I can do some math, but not all math. 4 spaces in between, which is going to give us enough space to put 1 more row of 3, and then a central pathway. I think that is a fantastic solution to using the space above everything here. And I am just so excited. So excited to get this actually accomplished here. Because it has been a very, 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 very long and sometimes frustrating road. But I do believe we are in a tremendous, tremendous spot to get this more or less wrapped up and finally start pushing toward 1,000 beavers. And that is, of course, going to require a little bit more investment on our part into the wood supply chain. We come all the way down here. We do still have a decent amount of oak trees that have not been cut down. And we have, you know, a fair number of lumberjacks, but we also have 70 beavers who are not working. And maybe don't necessarily need to be. But if I'm going to have an opportunity to get something done a little bit more quickly, then I think I'm going to have to take it. So I have, I guess, just a few places I could pop in one of these guys and just let them go wild here. Obviously, these are not going to be able to reach every single tree that needs to be cut down. That's just the way it goes. But if we just take a little bit of time and try to get this situated. Oh, this 22%. Yeah, we're not going to be waiting for this. We are absolutely not waiting for that tree. I'm going to cut it down, and I'm going to put in a lumberjack flag right here. we do still have a couple of other things to fix, and I know we don't have all of our housing hooked up that we've already built because we had to take all the tube-ways and ladders out and went through all sorts of nonsense with that. But we are very, very close to not having to worry about that, hopefully, ever again. Just going to get our 1,000 beavers, we're going to survive a whole cycle, and then we can say, hey, we did it, that was fun, let's not do this again. Unless I come up with a better way to try and run this playthrough, because I had a good vision, I had a good set of ideas, but, you know, sometimes you sit down to actually do something, and you realize, you know what, this is really hard. And I don't really know what I'm doing. So instead of me just, you know, cutting out everything and saying, I'm the smartest person who's ever lived, well, we both know that's not true. So I'm going to have absolutely no shame just saying, you know what? I made mistakes. I'm going to own them. We're going to talk about what I did wrong so you don't have to do it the same way. And we'll just move on. So let's get that lumberjack flag going. Also saw some comments saying that I should have more builders. Well, I think this is a pretty decent quantity of builders, and we have hauling posts and all that jazz. But we do still have 65 unemployed beavers. So I think, you know, for the benefit of everyone here, why don't we, first of all, try to get more of this wood harvested. Definitely need to make more planks. I don't think it's necessarily a situation where we need to plant more trees, because by the time a full forest of pine trees would grow, it'd be 12 days, and most of the oak trees that aren't grown down here will have grown up by then, and there's really not that much we need to do with tremendous quantities of wood, save for all of these triple platforms. And yes, if I would have spent more time engineering, there's that word I don't really deserve to say, anything that I build here is not really engineered at all. But if I would have just spent a little bit more time thinking about how I could maybe use overhangs, then we could solve some of those problems. But keep in mind, one section of 6x1 overhang is 36 logs, 36 planks, and 12 pieces of metal. And this would, in theory, remove the need for 5 stacks of triple platforms. What's a triple platform cost to build? 10 planks. So, even, I know it's more than 1 stack of triple platforms high, but this is 50 planks to cover the same space that this this overhang would take care of. But you also have the metal to, you know, remember there. You also have all of these logs, which could be processed into other things. And then you also have just the nonsense of trying to figure out which overhangs go where, what connects to what, and if something goes wrong, you have to take an entire thing down and start completely over. So I'm willing to put up with a little bit of waiting around for them to make planks. I can just time-lapse it if it's really, really bad, but yes, I am aware that that is maybe not the best thing, but the way things have gone, I don't think I can really be super upset with the efficiency of what we've been doing here. So to that end, I will build 3 more industrial lumber mills. I do not think we're going to need to keep these around, but I do want to try to speed up the plank production because that is going to be what's holding all this up. But we still have 17.5 days worth of drought to take care of. So that just has to be what it has to be. And I don't think we need to worry about building any more builders' huts necessarily, because at the end of the day, we still only have 20 planks here, and they're not going to work any faster if there's more beavers to do nothing with the same amount of not planks. So we should be alright. What we do need to make sure we're doing, though, before we build too much else over here, is remember what we said a long time ago, is we wanted to have earth repopulators in all 4 corners. And if we have this go all the way against the very edge of the map, then we will need 7x7 space. And right now, this edge of the map here is kind of taken up with some ladders and pathings and stuff. So that means these large tanks are going to have to go somewhere else. And we're going to need to make sure we have space set aside for the earth repopulators there. Even if it's not on this exact level here, just keep in mind, so I can demonstrate to you, if I build on top of this thing here, it's going to let me do it. If I put another layer of platforms in, yes, I can build platforms. Yes, I can build stuff on top of the platforms. but I cannot build this. That's our limit. I can go like 1 block above this, but no further. So in keeping with that, I don't really think it would be much to our benefit to raise it up that 1 block. Because what am I going to put under it? We already have tons of extra space we're not using. And I honestly probably should not have had this many layers. Probably should have had at least 1 more 3 blocks tall. But it is what it is. It's episode 45. And I don't think we're going to need to have all that to successfully have 1,000 beavers kept alive through an entire maximum length drought. If that's what the RNG rolls for us, then that's what it rolls for us. But just, we're keeping that stuff in mind as we're continuing working on everything. And that is the best we've got. So these guys are working here, making, well, in theory, almost twice as many planks, because I think I did put I put a 4th one in there. We're making good progress. And this is going to be a very, very long building process here. But yes, what are we doing about all of this? This large row house, wherever it may be, I guess that's this one not connected because it's at the very top. Yeah, how did I miss that up? Okay, well, that answers that question. All of these row houses all the way down are not connected. And yes, this is a it's a mess because I originally wanted this to be tubeways and I wanted everything to be all nicely interlocking, set up perfectly with no room for bad anything. But we all know what happened and how we can't do that again. So to that end, I will have to put in some additional stuff here. I'm just going to do regular overhangs, and that is going to be that. We have a single column of ladders going all the way up, and I think that is going to just have to be good enough. Yeah, and I know these tubeways here would be really nice to have them go all the way across. And in this exact spot right here, because these meet each other... Oh, see, I can't, though. I can't do that. I cannot put in a tiny tubeway station in that spot because it's not going to allow me to. Or right here. So if I put any more tiny tubeway stations in, it would have to be here and here. But I really can't do that. I really can't be doing any more of these things. So, I know this is just really frustrating to see this turn out this way, but neither of us have the time, unfortunately, to sit here and police all of that. It just is what it is, and that's the way she goes. Now that these are all set up here, yeah, see, I'd made room for more of these farmhouses, and then I just never built them because we didn't need them. We're going to, we're going to put some more stuff in. But since we are here, I will just have to replace the tiny two-way stations in the center. And where I can connect side to side, I will do it. But it's not going to be possible for us to just do that on every single one of these. You know how it is. You just have to do what you have to do. No, that would just be horrible if I did that, huh? See, this is a... Oh, you can't go through here anyway. I know, the most riveting content ever. Just trying to figure out what the heck we're supposed to be doing here. But, that's the way she goes. Not connecting to any of these tanks anyhow. The only reason I'm not time-lapsing this is because there's still tons of stuff for us to do, and I think it probably would be helpful, for me at least, to talk through some of it. Just pop that there. And I know some of you do appreciate seeing this in real time. But there's not too many more of these we have to get connected. I just want to make sure before I go off and do anything else that this is all set, ready to go. And we don't need anything on top of here. This is where the district center previously went. I don't really think it matters where it is, but I probably will move it back there because it's a little bit more centrally located. And once all of this is built, then I think, yeah, that should connect just fine right there. And I suppose I can pop this set of platforms right back in here. That should get us about where we want to be. So now, before we do any more time-lapsing, we're going to go into mods, and we're going to adjust the settings in TimprOve. Fantastic mod. I'm going to turn this back to static daylight, set to day, and because somebody asked, yes, I'm going to check prioritize rebel, and then that's it. Should be some nice changes for us. And now I'm going to time-lapse this so we can hopefully get as much of this built as quickly as possible and move on to the next, which is going to be organizing our food and water stuff just a little bit better. While they do that, I will leave them to it, and I will see you on the other side of this time-lapse. Alright, here's cycle 80. And they did manage to build a decent bit of stuff during that time-lapse, but it's still pretty obvious we don't have enough planks. I know, who would have guessed, right? But what we do have is a little bit more dynamite we can explode, and then our last couple of platforms we can pop in so we can get the rest of our pumps in here. Just a little bit more. Get those popped in. We'll have to wait for them to build a couple of these things. But we are now in better shape than we were the last time we had a temperate cycle. And we should be able to store a pretty good amount of it, especially considering we have 66 unemployed beavers. Let's get these popped in here. And then this being a ladder, we probably don't need to get down in there, and I don't want to take this out and rebuild it, so I will just pop a deep water pump in there. And with that, all of the pumps that we are probably going to need to have to complete this challenge have been placed. I could still put a few more things here, but for for everyone's sake, I think I won't. Oh, I shouldn't have pressed tab. That's way too many things here. Get these set for water, and then we will need to put a couple more over here as well. That will, of course, have to wait for those platforms to be put in place. But it won't be that big of a deal for us to pop these in right now. Anyway, again, I should not press tab. That's like a billion of these things right on top of each other. Okay, so that's going to be another 3 of those large tanks. I do want to build stuff on top of this. You already know. I don't even need to say it. We should have our nice clean water coming in the bottom of the reservoir. And I believe if I turn this back on, we should see that rising. Ever so slowly, but yes. And I think I connected whatever I could tube-way wise without it, being something where I can't build across other things. Wait a second. You know what? Well, I did say I'd have to have, I have to have this connect across that way. But maybe if I really wanted this to connect across, I probably could, because that's got a ladder there. Yeah, I'll give the beavers this one concession, and then as a result, I will need to put in a tiny two-way station here so they can access this. And then I suppose, wait a second, they haven't built this either. Ah, yes. How could I have possibly guessed that it would be planks? Boom. Yeah, I'll just do that for this one time. Okay, those have been placed appropriately. This is going to be fine going up again. Then we don't have any more two-way things crossing. I just like to, make it possible for what needs to get across to get across. And that is that. So, Earth repopulators don't need planks, so we could actually start building these. My main concern is the treated planks, which, of course, do need planks. But I've got 730 of those stored up. And if we don't start using them now, then I'd just have to have even more storage. And then I'm stuck at the end of the game with, I don't know, 5,000 of these. Like, what the heck am I going to do with that? So let's start our fun here and put our first Earth repopulator all the way into the corner. Just like that. There's going to be one that goes here as well. And yes, that does unfortunately mean this tiny tubeway station is going to have to be moved. We'll figure that out when we get to it. But this gives them a nice goal to work toward. Uses a whole bunch of gears. Uses a whole bunch of treated planks. Uses a whole bunch of metal blocks. And as you know, gears are made from planks. So, we have 1,500 logs. The logs are not the problem. They were never the problem, at least not in recent memory. So we will, once again, turn our attention to adding just absurd quantities of industrial lumber mills as I press the incorrect button. And, well, I guess it's not really absurd. It's just ugly, bad, suboptimal placement here. But it's going to be fine. We'll get these prioritized. And that should help us a lot. Get the planks that we need. And then we'll be in good shape. So we are continuing to fill the reservoir. But we're also pumping from it at the same time. Let's see if I can... Yeah, it is still going up. Oh, it's actually not tall enough to pump yet. Convenient, huh? Well, so it is what it is. One of the other projects that you guys wanted me to do was to inset this ladder into here so we could have a little bit of an easier time dealing with all of this stuff. So, that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this corner out. And yes, I know these do take planks. But it's fine. We'll just get that there. They do have the ability to cross over behind this, so it's not a problem. I'm not going to remove this ladder until this one is done. Not that it really matters, honestly. They just need to have something to do so that we don't lose track of what we're attempting here. So, oh, this doesn't connect to anything anyway. I'll just get rid of this. Help us get some of those back. So the rubble is prioritized. Thanks, TImprove. And I think, yeah, 138 buildings lacking construction material. Gee, I wonder what happened there. But now we can kind of refocus our attention for a little bit on our food situation. Keep in mind, we have not built any hydroponic gardens. And the reason I hadn't done that is because I was concerned about water usage. So I think I would like to have all of the foods if I can. We do know that the mangrove fruit situation is not super ideal, and I did say we're going to build another level of that, but I don't think that's going to be a today thing. That'll probably have to be a next episode thing. I do think, though, once we get all of these pumps in, hopefully that happens before the end of this episode, we can see what our capacity is looking like and what our usage is looking like for these 346 beavers. If it's trending really, really well, then we can start looking at hydroponic gardens. Because the only thing that goes into these is water. There's nothing else. You just have to have a beaver who works there, and they have to be able to supply these things with water. And the math that was done for us a very, very, very long time ago on all of those is for fermented mushrooms, for 1,000 beavers, assuming no well-being bonuses or anything, 40 hydroponic farms. And then to run all of those, or supply them, we'd have to have 3 dedicated water pumps, 5 fermenters, and 1 engine. We're not using engines because we're generating our power with the water wheels, so we don't have to worry about the wood for that. But 3 water pumps dedicated to fermented mushrooms is easy for us to do, because I'm not trying to keep them alive indefinitely for back-to-back-to-back-to-back-to-back 30-day droughts or bad tides. I just want to do one full cycle to prove that it's possible, and then that's it. So fermented mushrooms with 40 hydroponic farms, well, that's a lot of hydroponic farms. We might have to put those on some of these other lower levels. But for algae rations, we do have to take canola into consideration, and we have. When we planted all those, we can easily plant more. We have tons of space. 26 hydroponic farms for those. 2 water pumps, 9 oil presses, 2 food factories, and 5 engines. Again, we don't use the engines for power. But as far as food factories goes, we have this one right here, And it would not be difficult for us to build a second. We're going to end up redoing all of this anyway. So all we have to do is build 66 hydroponic farms, find space for those, and we're going to be in business. But guess what you have to build hydroponic farms? That's right, it's planks. 66 of these, you multiply that by 20, that's a lot of planks that we don't have right now. But it's not impossible, and I think it's going to be worth doing. I think we can manage it. Just keep that in mind as, excuse me, as we're continuing working on stuff. We do need to find somewhere for those to go. And this is mangroves here. Keep in mind that this lower level I was very heavily thinking of converting into mangrove stuff. But seeing how this is right now, I'm not even really that sure that we're going to be able to. In terms of mangrove fruits, nobody has eaten any? Oh, that can't be right. Huh. Because we have, Oh, they haven't harvested any. Oh, that's because the ladders... Oh, jeez. The ladders went away. I was like, what happened to all of my... No. That's because the ladders went away. You took them away because you were convinced something... The you in this case being me, not any of you watching. Well, there's your problem. All right, let's oh man, let's move on. Let's move on before my heart starts hurting. Not literally, but metaphorically. Oh boy. Okay, this is where... See, this is why it's good to check this stuff. Because I completely forgot that these were no longer connected. We had this whole area set up to, you know, try to be something cool, and then it, didn't quite work out. I think what happened here was this was supposed to be... How in the world did I have this connected? The two-boy here... Well, I don't remember how it was connected, but I do remember how I'm going to do it right now. It's like, that's not remembering. Look. Sometimes that is just the way it goes. So that should help, having things actually connected. Boy, what a concept, huh? Okay, I didn't even look at this at all. Why am I the way that I am? There are many answers to that question, and I don't think any of them are things that I would be very excited to hear. I don't know, some of you might find it funny to mock me or whatever, but you know what, that's okay. Oh man, they fired Mike Gundy, so I can't even really reference that anymore. The I'm a Man, I'm 40 speech. That was 18 years ago, I think. Anyway, if you don't follow American college football, you will have no idea what I'm talking about. And that's okay. So, I'm glad we checked this. I had completely forgotten about it. And these are saying they aren't accessible. We already talked about that. They haven't gotten into it because, guess what? We don't have enough planks. See, this level, not... Oh, no, they're placed. They just haven't been built because we don't have enough planks. This level seems to be good. Yeah, bottom level's humming along nicely, except we don't have... Oh, that's right, because the ladders all went away. And I did say we're going to get rid of this, but for now we haven't. So you know what that means? It means just build that. Thank you. Okay, 355 beavers. We do really need to start ramping up our numbers. I'm running out of places to put these. So for the time being... I guess I'll put 2 there. I'll put... You know, we never actually did two-ways going all the way down here, and this is where that two-way station was going to be. I don't have enough planks to build anything else anyway. But I can when we get over here. I guess it doesn't really matter which one of these I end up doing. I just need to have these somewhere. They will be built at some point. And I guess they're just going to take their sweet time doing that. How are we looking up here? Okay. Very nice progress being made. If I take a look here, I think, yeah, I've got... Oh, they haven't built that yet. Never mind. We'll need to detonate those at some point, although it's not holding up any building. It's just the way that it is. But now that we have all of these fabulous industrial lumber mills, let's prioritize these. And then I think we are just going to have to enter another time-lapse. Like, I know it's not always most exciting to see the time-lapses, but it needs to be reiterated just how completely absurd of a thing it is that I am attempting to do here. Most people who do this and would record it for YouTube would just cut a whole bunch of stuff out. But for better or for worse, we are pretty firmly wedded here to the idea of show everything, even if it's at 30 times speed, and then sped up to 5,000% in post-processing from that. And I always want to keep that if I can. So, you're watching them time-lapse a whole bunch more stuff. Maybe at some point in the middle of this, they will start putting things into this first, whatever the wonder is called, Earth Repopulator. But as you know, it's just going to take time. So, I will see you on the other side. Alright, now it's cycle 81, and we've got 50% progress on the Earth Repopulator. Almost all the gears. Still only 740-something of the planks. But we're looking really good on the metal blocks as well. So I'm going to go ahead and deprioritize this for construction, just so they can work on it as they are able. But we have this entire thing set up. These are all the pumps we are probably ever going to need. Unless there's some sort of just ridiculous stupidity that occurs. I think this is going to be fine. So the issue we're going to come across now is at the start of the cycle, in day 1, the water in the reservoir... Oh, hey, we can explode these. There we go. The water in the reservoir is not going to reach up to the height of the pump straws until probably day 3-ish, depending on how much we save. So I know there was some discussion in the comments about asking why I deleted the floor underneath the pump straws, and that was because I wanted the reservoir to have a little bit more space. But now I realize that might have been a little bit premature because there's nothing keeping water up here for these guys to pump out. So we might end up in a little bit of a problem. We might have to, reinvent our strategy here if it ends up being a big deal. But I think for now, everything is fine. We are down to 600. Wow, that would be awful. 6,000 water. But I think with, how many water pumps do we have? 104. 104 water pumps. With all these water pumps, I think we're probably going to be okay to refill this stuff. And they're all staffed. Everything is fine. So we don't need to worry about water, is what I'm trying to tell you. What we do need to worry about is food. And while we do still have plenty, we're going to have 3 times as many beavers, just about. And we only really have storage for, 2,400, and mangrove fruits are an entirely different discussion. And we don't have any kohlrabies planted whatsoever. So I think what's going to make the most sense is we do already have storage for every type of food here. And that's good. We're going to leave that there. What we need to do is expand production. And I think these little pockets right here might be our ticket to doing that. If I can get power connected properly. And I know we're going to have our thing right here, the Earth Repopulator. But don't forget, the row houses conduct electricity or power. It's not technically electricity, whatever. So we could utilize this bit right here, keep coming up, and then run power into this corner here. Because if we take a look at our calculations, or I do, because I'm not going to put them on the screen because they're on my other monitor here. In terms of the actual buildings that need to, give you a better view, in terms of the actual buildings that need to be used to produce, say, kohlrabies. 19 farms, just storage on those, so that's fine. The fermented cassava have to have 8 fermenters. And currently for cassava, I have, let's see, I've got 1, I've got 2, I've got 3. I think it might just be those 3. So if we decide that we want to dedicate individual spaces to individual crops, which probably is going to be the better way to do it, 8 fermenters, come on, stay on the screen, 8 fermenters could be built. I'll just pause the game so they don't actually start building this. But 8 fermenters could be built very easily with 6 right there. I'll move this over one more, or maybe slightly reconfigure how this is set up. It worked in my head, and that's what matters. No, that's not what I was trying to do. There we go, just like that. That's going to give me 6. And this gives me 8 right here. And that would all be super easily connected. I'm leaving this open for pathing purposes, which I'm going to have to put a ladder here. But say that we did this way. It would not be that hard for us to just slightly modify this so that we could also have a storage for the raw cassavas and for the fermented ones right here. And we're going to need more than 2,400 storage for each of those because we're going to have 1,000 beavers. So, assuming that we have 6 here, I think what's going to make the most sense is for us to do here and here. Have this go all the way back, go all the way back, and then in this space right here we have a 2x3, which we could stack like this. Or we could say, you know what, this would be a good place for some other type of building. And then on the side here, and bear with me here with this, on the side here we have this warehouse facing that way, this warehouse facing this way, so it's on this same path here, and then this all connects. Or we just rotate this. I'm pulling things, you know, out of thin air as we're thinking here. That's how I do generally like to do this. So let's re-envision that with the idea that we're going to have a path coming through here. Let's just run that path. If we want to have food, the supplies for everything, having this right here and also having power coming into some part of this, I think it's going to make the most sense to have the power come in this side. So if we have power coming in to the back here, and I have this set up like so, I could very easily do something like this, or we could have this come over to here and here, have this come here, here, and here, and this gives us 6. Power could come in to this side here, and then I could have 7, and then I could have 8, right, like so. But if I do that, then they can't have their storage here. So instead, what I would propose is you do this, you make your little M shape, and then you come by right here, and it's all right there, and then you just have ladders to get you through or on top of other things. So this could all easily be attached with minimal weeping, gnashing of teeth, etc. You'd have power come up from here, and then from there, depending on how we want to do this, we could also have power come across this to the other side, get that nice and taken care of. But this would basically be the permanent solution for cassava, for fermented cassava. And I think I'm going to roll with that. We'll do this one thing at a time. Now, also, don't forget, we have the ability to stack things up here. We have a whole lot of height to work with. So if we wanted this to also, because we don't have to have any canola oil for the fermented mushrooms, then we could put those in this same area here and just utilize all of that stuff. We only need 5 fermenters for the fermented mushrooms. So if we were to build a support structure here, which we could very, very easily do to make this a possibility, put a double platform, come in here with our 3x3s, and then 5 of those would very easily, if we put some other platforms in, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then a 5th one here. You can kind of see how this is set up. This would be 6, like so. There's no harm in having 6. I don't think that would be a bad idea. So was that a single? No, it was a double. That's right. So you put that there, you put that there, you put that there, you put that there. And then what do you have here? You have this little space with which to communicate power and put some ladders in place. So you got those there, you got those there, there. And then, you know, what you can do here is you can have a, I guess you could call it an access layer where they can come through here. Don't know exactly what else would go in this spot, but you separate it vertically just by one layer. You can do whatever you want with that space. I don't think we need to stack some other sort of storages underneath or anything, just because of how everything is set up. Then you have that, and we haven't set these up for anything, so I suppose we just do some regular and fermented for each of these. Yes, I know we are not currently growing mushrooms. That will change, and I wanted this to be ready to go regardless before we got into any of that. I guess I could unpause this. Let them get to work building stuff, because as you know, it will take time. We do have to have our pathing here and here. So what's going to happen here is we will need ladders. I think I can get by with just a single ladder right there. And then the rest of this can be placed as... come on, go in here. Alright, like so. That goes there, that goes there. Peel this back. That is set up correctly. And this ends up filling this space pretty nicely. And don't forget, we can also stack on top of this again. We have the technology, and it would fit very nicely right at the exact level of these deep water pumps. So, as long as you guys are on board with this and you don't think it's completely stupid, then I think we're going to be in pretty good shape. And you know what can go right here? That's right, folks. We can put row houses. We can even stack them like this if we feel so inclined. And have this go right here, have this go right here, have this go right here, and have this go right here. And I know they're not the super tall ones, but every little bit matters. And that is going to be super helpful to get power back and forth. And we can even go a little bit higher with these guys on top like this. Just get everything all stacked up. And then we can decide what's going to go on top of these guys. We could put another layer of these fermenters. I just thought it would be nice to have the ones that don't use canola oil all in the same spot, so we don't have to have canola oil over here. Do you think this is ugly? Do you think it's cool? I do genuinely care about your feedback, of course. So this brings up a another thing that we probably need to do here, and that is move this stack of ladders back into the corner. But before we get too comfortable, I do need to come in here and put this set of ladders back into this corner. Get that hooked back up. And then this, of course, will only have to have access going up here. So I will just have a single stack of ladders not connected to anything else to get into that. And when this goes up here, this will very easily just get hooked into that second level, and we'll have other ways to get in and out. You know how it goes. You know how it goes. I can't have this go into the backside here because that is the backside of a ladder, obviously. But this middle layer, I can just have this path go out to right there. Which, you know what? You know what? I wasn't thinking correctly. So what I should do here is instead have a double and a single, because that's going to allow that to connect, and that can connect to that ladder there. And then from here, just have this, we'll just have this go all the way across. That'll make it nice and simple to get everything connected here. So, you know, maybe it's a little bit of a waste having this space layer in between, but it's going to help us do what we need to do. And that, actually, you know what? Aside from that first layer, these can all be turned the other way, because I need to be able to get onto this platform here. There we go. So that gets hooked into there. This should go straight in, and it does. So, once this is complete, fermented cassava and fermented mushrooms taken care of for the end game. We just have to bring power over here, and that won't be too terribly difficult because we have this on our side. Yes, I know that now they have to go all the way around, but this was never supposed to be the end-all, be-all here. We'll just bring in our top layer of row house here. And we do have this extra thing here zooming out so I don't have to listen to that sound the whole time. There's nothing on this. And this does not need to be here because this was a temporary connection. So what this gives us is a direct side access. Okay, that doesn't even connect to anything at all anymore. This gives us a direct side access for a power shaft. And then that could pretty easily... Well, this can go away too. Could pretty easily get connected somewhere else. All the way across or up and across. And I guess... you know what? You know what I'm going to choose to do that might not be popular? I'm just going to have this come in from the top. I'm not going to stack anything else on top of this because that's going to create some verticality challenges. See, I know I end up workshopping a lot of this stuff during episodes, and I'm sure some of you probably don't care for that. But it's the easiest way for me to accomplish things, and I hope you can understand. So that will get me across to there. I don't think I can go any further than that without coming from this piece right here. Which I know I can, to a certain extent, build... the wheel's in the way. Well, that's fine. That's the way it goes. Gotta zoom out again. If I take these platforms here, this would just be a regular 2x1, and then I could just have this go some other type of way across everything. This bridge probably doesn't need to stay here. In fact, I don't need this path here at all. Remember, we're redoing all of this at some point. And these water tanks need to get moved because this is prime space for our what do you call it? So, yeah, I know, very technical term here. Let's instead place those two tanks there. Set that to water. Set that to water. Then these get to be emptied, and they have to be removed because this is where the thing is going to be, and this ladder is not going to be super useful. In fact, it's going to be completely useless. We have 5 to here, 7 to here. That means this ladder can stay, and it will be connected to this. We'll bring that across. That is going to be probably the best I can do with regard to that. Hey, look, they've already built... wow. Oh, wow, look at all these beavers. Look at these guys go. Look at them go. Where are they all? Oh, they're emptying the water. That's all my haulers. Okay. What are they doing? Well, they're doing exactly what I told them to. You know how it goes. I don't want to time-lapse quite yet. That's empty now. Good. Good, good, good. They do still need to do that until we can build the rest of these things. They will be picking up all of our storage. Because that's... Now it's prioritized. They have to do it. These power shafts here, like I said, just going to have to wait on whatever else we have to build. I will put this here because this is the simplest, cheapest way to do it. There very well could be a better way. In fact, I am almost certain that there is a better way. But for where we are now, I will take this and be perfectly happy with it. You know how it goes. If we have to redo this later, then we have to redo it later. But, see, that's not going to connect there very well now, is it? Oh, but that ladder's not going to be there. That ladder is not going to be there. There's going to be a connection right here, and then that can take its place going all the way across this. So that will need to be all the way in, and they can build that. Is it a really beautiful solution? Absolutely not. It's uglier than insert your favorite ugly thing here. But it's fine. It's going to be okay. We're on day 3 The water situation is not technically improving yet, but they are pumping. And I've realized something very important, and that is this is completely separated from all of these pumps, and they can't do anything. They are functionally useless. So I will need to take one of these, or I'll do 2 of these, because I guess I don't really... Hold on. I have the ability. Everything's connected, right? Okay. I'm gonna do it. There we go. So now, don't worry, I will not be building all of these back as regular platforms. All I'm going to do, since this is a 12 right here, I'll do a triple, and a triple, and then a, come on, double here, and then 6x1 overhang, 6x1 overhang, all the way across. And now all of these can work, except the 6 I disconnected. And that is that. Our total storage capacity for water is 60,000 on the dot. Obviously, that is going to increase, but it's a very good start. And now we are in time-lapse mode once again, friends. Because that's basically all I can do, is just let them time-lapse, let them build stuff. And that's that bad tide warning. By now you've already seen the bad tide, but I think we are in a pretty decent position. Obviously, they're going to be able to pump a substantial quantity of water with 100-something pumps active for the next, well, as of me speaking right now, 2.5 days. And I think we're going to be just fine. Once again, we will see what they've managed to get finished by the end of this time-lapse, and hopefully we can make some good concrete steps toward finally finishing cassavas and fermented mushrooms once we actually start making them by the time they're done. Okay, so let's come out of this time-lapse here. We have managed to get all of this actually built. It is, in fact, connected to the power through this really objectively not that great looking solution, but it works. And so now, I know we aren't producing the mushrooms themselves, but we can consider fermented cassava production and fermented mushroom production solved for the purposes of the industrial stuff. And now we have this space over here. I've taken the liberty of already getting the ladders in place here. We can take this out. What I would like to do here is not necessarily completely mirror this, because it's going to be different, but I would like to do something similar for our soybean production, which is going to require 6 fermenters and 6 oil presses. So we already know what 6 fermenters looks like. It's right here. 6 oil presses. These are 2x2, so we could do 2 rows of 3, just back to back. Let's get these fermenters in first. Just like so. So that is 6 for our soybeans. Right here. Just get those set correctly. And then they will need paths, which will go right the way down here. And now this is where this is going to get a little bit interesting, because I'm going to have to fit in not only oil presses, but also tanks for the oil. And if I just have this mushed right up against here, I can do 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 along this back side here, but I'm going to have a little bit of empty space. And there's not really a better way for me to do this without moving some other stuff around that I maybe don't want to move around. So I think what's going to happen here is kind of like we did here with the large row houses kind of sandwiched on the side. They're going to help us get power between here and these oil presses. So if I do 1, 2, 3, and then I could do 1, 2, 3 here, or what I can do on this backside, because remember we have to have storage for all of our oil. And I think what's going to make the most sense in terms of spatial utilization is to put 2 large tanks here, set these for oil, and then it's going to be a little bit messy. It's not going to, be the most beautiful thing you've ever seen, but it should being the operative term, work pretty nicely here. I just have to have somewhere else to put 3 oil presses, which I think will fit very nicely in a row here, with another set of ladders going up this side all the way to the top. And the way that we're going to have to accomplish this is through clever manipulation of what actually goes up where. So, to go up on top of here, I'm either going to have something reaching in from the very side, or I'm going to have something reaching in from here. Or, depending on how we want to do it, because remember, these have about the same height footprint. If we try to do a double and then put an overhang on top of it, that works. Just like it would work here. Just to demonstrate. So what we can do is we can come in from this side and reach all the way across for this back one here. And then from this side, we can come across this way because we need to be able to send them across here. Oh, you know what? Actually, we don't have to because they can go up this ladder and then go back down that ladder, and then that would be easy. But just trying to think pragmatically here. So that would go out to here, and then that would go around. That would go around. We'll do the exact same kind of thing. I think we'll be in good shape. See, I did that there. Should be fine. Do excuse me while I am committing thought out loud. Ah, see, this doesn't quite bridge. Well, we'll take care of that. We'll get that fixed. Because all I need to do to make that happen is have a power go through between these two on some level. It doesn't have to be right at the very bottom, and remember, because this is how we have these guys getting across here. If I have this set up right like so, all the way up to this very top bit, and then at the top here, I do this. Then all I have to do is make sure these guys can get in here. I just put a platform here and a simple power shaft, and now this is sharing power for all of this mess, and this shares as well through here. Then I could actually run my power over this way, or I could run it across here. That might actually not look that bad, depending on how we want to do this. If I measure this out, see, 5 buys are not going to cut the mustard here. I need 4s. If I did a 4 there, 4 there, you know, it doesn't actually look bad. Sometimes I genuinely impress myself with my ability to think on the fly, and then the rest of the time I understand why I'm not actually that good at that. But in this specific instance, it seems like this is going to be just fine. Let's run this across here. I know this is ugly. Don't worry, this is all going to get, you know, it's going to get transformed, and it's going to be beautiful. Or at least tolerable. The issue we're going to run into here is running the power shafts across this, because they don't currently have a way to get up here. So yes, it is going to be another instance of the very annoying but very necessary just send somebody up here one bit at a time and constantly monitor it. But at any rate, that's going to allow us to have canola oil tanks easily accessible back here. I'm only going to need 2. And it's probably just going to be excess storage anyway, because they're probably just going to take this right out of here into here, and if not, we have a bunch of haulers, and that can be their problem. But all I'm going to have to do here is go across, and then, did I say 5 buys or 6 buys? I guess it's 6. Yeah, we don't need to worry about sending anybody back around here the weird way. Remember, we're going to be able to conduct power easily between these, right like so. And then on the back side of this, I bet you can't guess what's going to go here. Well, you probably can. You guys are pretty smart. That's going to be some raw soybeans, which if I could remember what they look like would be great. There we go. And fermented soybeans. And I even have space on top of that to do 1 more. Do I think it's really going to be that necessary? No, this is just for the purpose of production. We have storage elsewhere. But this is going to be super useful. I think we're going to be pretty happy with it. So all I have to do now is put in, I believe, these triples here. I will just do this all the way across because it's simple. That will be enough for pressing, and then we should be good to go. But wait, you might be saying, What do we do about the canola seeds? Well, we have currently a storage of 1,200 canola seeds on the other side of the map. I don't think I'm going to need a lot of canola seeds. So I don't really want to build a giant set of storage here. But what I can do... You know what? You know what I'm going to do? I probably shouldn't, but... if I just put in 2 of these here... I was already in the right spot. What in the world am I doing? Put that there, put that there. I'm never going to need this many. Just straight up never going to need this many. But I guess it's fine to have storage in the place you're going to use it. And there you go. That's your completely self-contained soybean fermenting area. 6 fermenters, 6 oil presses, power thanks to the water wheel situation. It'll get hopefully enough power. If not, we'll build some engines. It's not that big of a deal. But do let me know your thoughts on this. Like, do you think this is ugly? Do you think this is at least tolerably designed? I think it actually looks kind of neat. Just selfishly here. So we'll finish this up by putting in 2 of those. Get that hooked up to the path network. And this should be just about all we need. And yes, these guys will have to come up this side. It's the way it goes. I bet you can't guess what's coming next. That's right. It's a time-lapse. So, again, I just have to do it this way because there's so much left for us to do, and I know nobody wants to watch another 5 episodes of this. So, I'm going to do my best to get this wrapped up as fast as I can, but I don't want to just rush through it and say, all right, we'll just slap this in because we have to get it done. No, I still want it to be something interesting that looks at least somewhat cool if it's not maybe the most efficient design, or if it's not even designed at all and just problem solving. But we will see if they manage to get this finished before the end of the bad tide. All of the manual placement of these power shafts included. And I'll catch you after the break. Alright, cycle 82 begins, and we are just about finished here. Didn't quite have enough gears. Somebody forgot to unpause all the gear workshops, but these 3 oil presses, I guess, will just have to be complete when they're complete. The ones below them are chugging away producing oil. These fermenters are chugging away producing fermented soybeans. And now our food has shot up to 13,000. Looking pretty nice. We're closing in on 4,000 fermented soybeans available. Closing in on 4,000 fermented cassava. And of course, whenever we start growing the mushrooms, they will be ready. And, you know, I gotta say, I kind of like this. I think this looks kind of sweet. And there's plenty of other stuff we can put on top of here. Don't forget, we have stuff like the wind tunnels we have not put anywhere yet. We have motivatoriums that have to go on dirt, so, well, that'll have to go on dirt. But I think the wind tunnels might be a pretty good fit for this space right here, depending on where exactly we want to place them. I know it's not perfect, but I could put 1 here, and I could put 1 here, and they would fill most of the space pretty nicely. I'll leave that to you guys to discuss in the comments, of course. But I think this has been a pretty productive episode, if I do say so myself. Again, we have 102 pumps. It's fine. And this is, unfortunately, not going to be pumpable for another day or 2. You know what I really should do, honestly? I should take that idea that we talked about last episode with the recirculating pumps and have them recirculate some water over to here so that these pumps at least can start pumping immediately. But for where we are and what we've done, I am very satisfied. And I hope you are too. I just want to make sure that we are able to get most of the rest of these. Oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't put one of these tiny two-way stations in. I'm glad I looked. Always double check your work, folks. Wow. Sloppy. Absolutely sloppy. But that'll take care of that. Wow, how did I miss this on every single level? There's probably at least one of you who's sharp enough to have already commented about this. And if that's you, I want you to know that I care about you, and I'm very proud of your dedication. What the heck is this? Why did I why did I choose to do this way? I don't have an answer for that, but that was another thing that needed to be fixed. And I had, oh man, I didn't put any of these back in. I didn't put any of them in. Good job, me. Well, at the very least, I know because I looked. And, you know, sometimes it's about all you can ask for. Yeah, you know what? I'm just gonna put. I wanted to end the episode here. I don't even know how long it's gonna be. I've been recording for like 2 hours, and we don't have anything up here anyway. We'll get that when we get to it. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. I think this has been a success. So I really appreciate you guys sticking with this series. I know it's dragged on a little bit, but I really have done my best to try to speed it along, and without compromising too much of the hey, let's have a good time figuring out good solutions to this, and I am very thankful that you choose to stick with this. Beard Boosters, of course, subsidizing the channel, making it possible to do all this fun stuff without, you know, sponsorships or anything like that. Just us having a good time playing the games and enjoying a good community that you guys have really been a tremendous, tremendous part of building. So, I'm very thankful. I hope whatever it is you're doing with the rest of your day, stay safe, have fun, and we'll see you again soon for more Beavers. Take care, friends. Bye-bye.